Now, early morning discussion in Late and Loud.
The fortune teller from Islington,
I am Vaso.
who met a duchess.
She told me about your royal family, about her marriage, and all the men in her life.
But was Vaso right to tell the rest of us?
Later, the row that has set dog lovers at each other's throats. Are they right to remove those puppy dogs' tails?
But we begin with the self-styled psychic who convinced the Duchess of York to pour her heart out while squatting under a specially built plastic pyramid. Here's one we made earlier. Now, Madame Vaso this week claimed that the Duchess committed adultery while pregnant, is millions of pounds in debt, and wanted several members of the royal family dead. Just the latest in a long British tradition of dishing the dirt for dosh. Trudy Pachter, you practically invented kiss and tell in this country.
Yeah.
Why do people do it?
Why do people do it? Revenge, I'd say. Revenge and dosh, as you were saying earlier. You know, when Madame Vaso revealed all about Fergie, underneath, she kind of hated her. It wasn't just the dosh. She resented the fact that this woman was having it off with Steve Wyatt when she was 5 months pregnant, and that she was, you know, grabbing all the money and grabbing all the limelight. And, you know, almost everybody who kisses and tells has a deep rage in them.
But the truth of the matter is, I mean, she was in the position of a professional advisor. I mean, how would you like it if you went to visit your gynecologist and then the next thing you were reading about it in the news of the world?
Listen, Fergie should have checked her out. She's royal. She's not just nobody. She should have known that Madame Vaso, in fact, started in Islington in a marketplace. So, you know, you're royal, you nip along to some phony psychic who comes from the market, and you say, oh, you know, I had it off with Steve Wyatt, and I did this, and I did that, and I like chockies, or whatever she calls money. And you can't do that. You know, a businessman, you know, they have lots of secrets.
Sure, but I mean, if she's daft enough to go and see some old Doris above a kebab shop in Upper Street, it's her own fault, but surely she's entitled to some privacy, isn't she?
Not if you're in the public eye, certainly not. You should be careful. People in the public eye, successful people in the public eye, are damn careful who they blab their secrets to. I guess you aren't going to tell anyone anything about yourself that you didn't trust
I'll
and
tell you after the
know.
show, darling. Chris Quinton, we read about you in the tabloids sort of practically every week. I mean, you're now more famous for who you've slept with than for being on Coronation Street, aren't you?
Yeah, luckily for me, it was all 5 years ago, so I've managed to sort of get out of it now, but...
You've still got the leather trousers,
I've still got them, yeah. That sort of keeps it all together. You've heard about people who wear leather trousers. Yeah, but what happened with me now, I'm not known for playing Brian in the street. It is for my antics as a young sort of
well, that's
TV
right. Do you
star,
resent that?
No. I mean, I feel it's got in the way of my furthering my career now, because people don't think of me, you know, the producers, directors and casting directors now, only think of this young kid running around London or the world, you know, getting hold of everything.
So they think of you as bonking Brian and not as a serious actor anymore.
Yeah, I think so.
So has your
yeah.
career been affected by it?
Well, I've only done one job since, so I suppose it has.
Well, I mean, does he deserve this, Trudy?
He certainly does. People in the public eye shouldn't behave badly. And, you know, it's more for them if they do and if they behave indiscreetly and somebody blows the whistle. Look at Mitterrand. You know, they gagged the press in France. So all the while they had this president who had a wife and a mistress with another grown-up family. And when did everyone know? His funeral, for God's sake. Nobody knew that the president, who was meant to be setting an example to his people, was actually keeping
let's
keep
it in this country. What Trudy's saying is you deserved it. You should have been more careful.
Totally right. I mean, you said something sensible. The only thing you said right was about Fergie. She has to take responsibility for what happened to her, because you do have to check people out. She should have done that. But nobody deserves to be able to sleep with somebody and then the next day read about it in the newspapers.
What do they?
Well, it's the luck of the game, isn't it? You sleep with somebody, you take your chances. And if you're a famous actor, Be very careful. Warren Beatty, I have it on good authority, would never go to any of the Hollywood orgies. Why? Because there'd be all sorts of people there who would observe him in the act, or whatever he was in the act
So what
of.
she's saying is that you should have been more careful about the women you slept with.
I must admit, at the time, yes, I should have done, but I had such a good time.
Well, isn't that a downside?
I really did have such a good time, and you know, luckily for me, it wasn't like being an actor, it was like being a sort of mini pop star. And I can honestly tell you,
You're like Donny Osmond.
Yeah, yeah. And no, I was naive, but to be honest, luckily for me, I only got girls write stories about me who, most of the girls who wrote stories about me, I really didn't even know them anyway, and I never had anybody really sort of that I loved do a kiss and tell about me. But there was a friend of mine, a male friend, who I'd sort of taken under my wing for many, many years, 5 or 6 years, and I'd showed him London, took him around. He sold a story to one of the tabloids and got £11,000 about me and him, you know, 3 in a bed and running around London doing all this stuff. That broke my heart.
Well, that's it.
Devastated.
Max Clifford, I mean, that is the point. It's not always women kissing and telling on men, is it? I mean, you've been involved in the Mandy Allwood story this week. She's made a lot of money out of her artificial insemination and her pregnancy.
Yeah.
Was that just purely commercial? Is that why she went through with it?
No, I mean, she didn't have sexual intercourse with the idea of having 8 children. It happened. It was one of those freak things. According to the experts, it would probably never, ever happen again.
But it's a very intimate secret to disclose for money, isn't it, don't you think?
Well, she wasn't actually disclosing the secret of how it happened or what happened. She was disclosing the fact that she was having 8 babies. You know, anyone and everyone would have known that sooner or later. And in point of fact, the story was about to break before she ever arrived on my doorstep.
Hey, but with respect here, I mean, no medical person in this country was prepared to stand up and say that she should have 8 babies, or indeed could have 8 babies.
Well, so I'm awfully sorry, I do beg to differ, but Professor Nicolaides said to her, there's a chance. And he was the man that was treating her, and he's supposed to be one of the world's top experts in this area. He told her that.
But the
you
point
have
here,
a chance.
the point here, though, is that she wasn't kissing and telling about anybody. She was doing it for herself. It's okay doing the story.
She was telling her story.
You know, she had every right to go and do a story.
The world wanted to know her story.
That's not kiss and tell.
And as far as I'm concerned, she was entitled to make as much money as she could from telling the world her story.
But why was she telling it? Why was she telling it? For what reason?
Why was she telling it?
Do you think that's an ethical thing to do, Brooke?
No, I think it's totally unethical.
Hold on just a second. If she wished to tell a story about Mandy Allwood, then that's totally her business and nobody else's.
So you didn't tell the story?
I didn't tell... No, of course I didn't.
I thought you acted for her.
I didn't tell the story. She told the story.
To you.
I arranged the deal. Can you follow? Are you simple?
No, not in this way. No.
Listen, you might learn something.
I think you're a very clever fellow, and as a spin doctor you might be brilliant, but the answer is that I'm sure what happened is you discovered that she was having 8 babies, and you thought, wow, this looks like a great commercial opportunity here.
Do you have an ethical objection to what Max does?
No, we see...
Do I object? I do, really, but I think the answer is he does it so well that the answer is if he can make a living out of it, why not?
But isn't it in your case, it's a personal thing? I mean, your main objection is that you were turned over in the tabloids by this lady sitting there. That's what really peeves you, isn't it?
I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting at home, I get a telephone call from Dempster, and he says to me, I've just had a telephone call from Cherry Gilliam. She says, you plied her with lobster and seduced her. I said, what?
You didn't?
I took her away.
Excuse me?
What do most boys do when they take girls away for weekends? But how did he know that? How did he know that? You'd rung him up.
No, I didn't. I actually faxed him, darling, with the whole story, yeah. But Rod, you don't know why. You don't understand why I did. You still don't know. I haven't told you how furious I am with you. Right. I haven't let on to you. I haven't let on that when you tell people things about me, tell people not to speak to me because I'm dangerous or whatever, that I don't like it, Rod. I don't like you doing that.
Why did you do that?
Why did I do that? Oh, yes, just a minute. I'll tell you why I did it. Oi, if you had a brain, you would definitely be dangerous.
On Sunday night. Do you know what she said to me, Richard? She said, it's been a wonderful weekend, Rod. And
what did you say to me?
The toffees. You know,
you want the toffees?
So you're kissing and telling on her now?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
No,
we then went to a party. I then went to a party to which you weren't really invited to.
Oh, I just gate crashed. I
crash.
And I turn up. No, steady on. Let's get the facts right. I turn up with two blondes on my arm, both of whom are married ladies who are married to friends of mine, one of whom sitting in the audience right opposite you. You attack these poor girls, and the next thing you say, I'm clueless in the dating department. I wasn't even expecting to see you.
Sorry, Brod, but you always exaggerate things. You lie, and you kiss and tell worse than anybody. You kiss and twist. You tell the whole story completely wrong.
To who?
And everything, to everybody, to people you speak to people in the press, and they all come to me and tell me what you said, or I read it, what you said. What you said when we both did our thing, and we both did it, you said a load of rubbish, absolute rubbish.
That was
about
1
me.
week later. That was
all right,
1 week
how did it
later.
happen initially?
And you asked me to do it.
Wait, no,
you said to me, "Oh, Brod, if I tell my side of the story, would you tell yours?"
All right, hang on. I don't intrude on personal grief, but we got a show to get on with. Ellie Lane.
But you are alive. Don't wink at me like that.
Was she right to run to the newspaper for that story?
Well, obviously we've got a lady here who has got a big vengeance, but I have to say that I think anybody who has any form of relationship and sells it, it is a form of prostitution. If you receive money for selling on someone
She's saying you're a prostitute. She's saying you're a
I'm
prostitute.
sorry. I really think.
It's the weekend. You know? If I'm a prostitute, I would like to be paid for that weekend that I went away with him.
I'm not saying he's a silly sod for doing. I mean, also, if the guy or whoever's being told on, you're stupid. I mean, you are setting yourself up.
Listen,
like with Fergie.
Is it worse to tell people untruths about you, to go to other people? Is that worse than telling the truth? Sorry? No, I didn't. I didn't. I was going away for an innocent weekend with him. I didn't. No, I swear to God.
Did you?
I did not ask him to crawl over into my bed at 5 in the morning and try and do things with me.
This is a gentleman here, Smith. Go in the audience.
I wasn't going to sleep with him. I knew him a year.
Come on.
Sorry?
This girl has been round the block. He's been round. She's been round the block many times.
I know you.
Yeah, but you're not.
Very well.
I'm just.
Let's have this young lady here. Come on, let's have a girl's point of view.
Round the block. I'll be around your block and Eaton Square if you're not careful.
It's got to do with the fact that she went out with a man and entered into something with a man who she knew was well known. And she's told the story afterwards, and so has he. So
that's not the story, love.
You think they deserve it? David Banks, the whole point about this is if people like you, Fleet Street editors, didn't have a big checkbook, didn't offer them on the money, we wouldn't be having this debate because people wouldn't be running the papers with their stories and we wouldn't have private lives slapped all over the front pages, would we?
It's not true, actually. A snitch is a snitch is a snitch. Whether you snitch for 10 quid or 10,000 quid, you're still a snitch. The amount that's offered doesn't make a heap of a difference.
I think it does. As a woman, if I wanted revenge, there's an awful lot of things I might...
I don't want revenge from that.
No, but the thing is, my thing is receiving money. You could sell the story and you could sell him down the river, you could cut up his suits, you could give him an
I didn't get paid for the Dempster story, okay? No. As it happened, they called me about something entirely different on the Monday morning, and I said to Adam Helliker, the editor of the Dempster, hey, I've been away the weekend with Brodman and Wilson, he knows him, and I said to him, I think it's a bit of a romance. We'd had a fantastic weekend. How stupid did I feel turning up at that party when Adam Helliker was there, and in bounces Brod with two birds. It doesn't matter who they are, and then he goes on a big deal about...
all right. Hell hath no fury. Trudy, does it matter about the amount of money? Once you've established the principle, does it matter?
I think it matters a great deal.
I think it matters too, definitely.
Yeah,
you think the money's important?
Sure.
Yes, definitely.
If somebody's going to sell their story, it's all they've got. You know, this chance encounter with a big celebrity or big celebrities, whoever you are, you've got the one story to tell. So don't sell it for 10 quid, sell it for 10,000 or 50,000.
It's not just one story. I had one girl make £20,000 out of me. I gave her one in the lift, right?
Term, by the way, for the youngsters at the back.
And it was a quick one, you know, it was like... I actually lived it was 42 floors, I lived on the 6th floor. I said, let's see if we can do it by the time we get up to the 42nd floor and back down again.
And you'd finish by the 7th. We were all now
so I did it,
but isn't it? It seems to me that your main grievance is that the girls you slept with have made more out of your career than you have.
Exactly, yes, definitely. No, but what happened with this girl? But at the time, I can look back now and it's very funny, but at the time, it really does hurt you. You really feel sort of like, you know...
Well, certainly it would in a lift, wouldn't it? Don't you accept that... I mean, Trudy says if you're going to sell it, the more money, there's more temptation to dish the dirt, isn't there?
No, if you're going to... You'd have told your story without being paid. You'd have told your story for nothing, wouldn't you?
I did it for a reason.
Yeah, but the fact is, we've turned into a nation of louts, you know, without a shred of common decency.
People would say you encourage. Isn't there a danger, Max Clifford, that the more money that is offered, the newspapers expect something for their money, and the bonquis is going to exaggerate it so that the papers get their money's worth?
Yes, there's a real danger of that, and it happens.
So the story about Mellor in a Chelsea strip, you made that up, didn't you?
No.
You didn't?
No. I mean, there's only 2 people that were there when they were at it. And I think if you look like David Mellor, you could understand him wearing a shirt. Take it away from the face.
Let's go to John Connell. I mean, you've been in Fleet Street for years.
Yeah.
If somebody came to you with a good, sexy story involving a figure in the public eye, surely you'd do what Dave Banks did. You'd buy it from them.
No, I wouldn't.
It'd boost your circulation,
wouldn't
it?
I would not buy it. I think this is the whole point. We don't know what Madame Vassaux has been paid, for example, but the Duchess of York, Fergie, I mean, is a divorced royal. She's no longer in the royal family. All this tittle-tattle which has been produced is clearly not in the public interest. Think of the effect it'll have on her children, on her mental health, everything else. There's no conceivable reason that this should be published, and the only reason for it is revenge and money.
So destroying lives for money, Trudy.
Exactly, that's what it is.
I think people who behave badly, particularly people in the public eye, should be brought to book. Yes. You know, if Fergie...
She's
not. Oh, come on.
She doesn't deserve
it. It encourages other people to behave as badly as her, and perhaps in the future, other royals will think twice before doing what she did.
Max, you say there are occasions when it's not justified.
I've got no time at all for Fergie. I've never been interested in Fergie, but what they've done to her this week is absolutely horrendous. She doesn't deserve that.
Why is it, Max? Why is it? I mean, she's like even a bigger celebrity than Chris Quinton, aren't we? Aren't we allowed to know about?
Because you're a major name, that doesn't justify something like this. You know,
so if Madame Vassaux had come to you and said, Max, how much
I would have said what I said to James Hewitt, fuck off.
Oops. On that note, let's just go to the audience. Let's just find out who thinks it's always justified to kiss and tell on any occasion. Who thinks if the price is right? You, sir.
People have right to know, and if people are doing hypocritical things, they're pretending to be something which they are not.
But what was Chris Quinton doing that was hypocritical?
Nothing.
He was trying to please himself.
Who disagrees with him? Who disagrees with him?
He was using his position as a well and famous known man to take advantage of somebody else, and it wasn't fair on the girls. What they got the money for it.
You don't think they were chasing him? You don't think they were gold digging?
But don't you think just by strutting into a nightclub, they know his face. He doesn't even have to speak a word. I'm on Carnation Street. I make loads of money. Come and sleep with me. They'll be falling at his feet. It's not fair.
Okay, well, what did he say then? Come on.
He just enjoyed himself. Wherever he went, he enjoyed himself.
So you think the papers were unfair to turn him over?
Definitely.
Should no kiss and tell.
Most certainly.
It should be kept to themselves, not to the public.
So keep it in private. Mandy, we've read a lot about you in the papers. You've been out with footballers, rock stars. We saw you with Sid from EastEnders this week. You know, you're always in the papers. Have you never been tempted to kiss and tell?
No, and I never have. All I've ever done is defend myself. And just one example here of the newspapers last week, it said that I had a 6-hour snogging session with Sid Owen, and, you know, he said to me, God, Mandy, he said, you were like Fag Ash Lou. He said, how could you kiss you? You've got a cigarette in your mouth every minute, you know.
But okay, tell me this, if you never kissed and tell, how is it that I know and other people know that sort of 10 minutes after losing your virginity, Bill Wyman had eaten a packet of digestive biscuits? Because, you know, as Max would say, there were only 2 people in that room at the time, weren't there?
As you know from the beginning, I never ever sold a story in the beginning, never, and that is fact. And there was just a whole situation that was set up. No money ever passed hands, nothing. And then as years went on, I mean, it was a lot of turmoil. If you think that actually I was quite abused as a young person, and some people might like to say, well, you got into it yourself, but he was an older man.
Okay, let's come off the Bill Wyman situation. It might just be because I'm a Spurs fan. But I don't remember reading in the programme that Pat Vandenhouwe used to like putting your knickers on under his suits before you went out for a drink in the evening. Now that was in your book, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this was something that, if you read the whole book, we were going to a fancy dress, and it dressed up, and that was something completely fun. Where the newspapers get it out of context completely and just make people look fools.
Victoria, what about women who kiss and tell? What does it do for them? What does it do to them ultimately, socially?
Well, I think it's complete social ostracism, isn't it? It's the last form of social ostracism left. It's an incredibly common and ill-bred thing to do. It completely destroys the mystique of anybody. And you're only doing it for money.
Common as much doing it for money.
Well, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't want to mix with her lot anyway, same as I don't want to mix with his lot. You know, it's a load of rubbish. You're hypocrites. You've taken the hypocritic...
Several Arab princes and this and that.
Oh, so you've read my book, darling. You've been reading my... What were you... That's what you were doing. You're reading my manuscripts. Who's left the world yet?
Trudy.
You know what's going on.
Trudy.
Yeah, let me tell you of a person...
Nuts must know what's going on as well. I know what's going on.
Hang on. Let me tell you about a woman who kissed and told and who actually scored tremendously. Her name was Marilyn Cole, was Marilyn Cole. She was the first centre spread in Playboy, the first full frontal centre spread in Playboy, and she blew the whistle on Playboy. She told how she slept with Hugh Hefner, how she slept with Victor Lowndes, and she actually revealed Playboy as one of the more corrupt organisations in our world.
But she'd taken their money to strip off, then she took money to blow the whistle and break their confidences. Aren't they doing, Ellie? Isn't she proving your point, Ellie Lane?
Absolutely, and I don't see how you can sit there. Well, and I mean, obviously, a person like you also help engineer and profit from things like this by bringing these sort of stories forward.
Let me finish the story before you disagree with me. Marilyn Cole ended up marrying Victor Lowndes, who ran Playboy. She told me that she did the story to get his attention because she felt that, you know, he'd used her and just abandoned her. So she did the story to get his attention, and did she not succeed? She's Mrs. Victor Lowndes. She has 3 homes all over the world, maybe 4, millions of pounds, and he adores her.
But I mean, the whole story with Fergie at the moment, I mean, do you actually condone what Vasso has done? I mean,
Yes, I do.
You do? You see, now, I think that is absolutely dreadful because, I mean, all right, I think Fergie is very stupid, and I think anybody who's in the public eye who puts themselves in a position, yes, that is bad, and they are very stupid, but I don't think anyone deserves to have somebody turn...
Let's just go to our audience. I want to go again. You've had your say. This lady here.
Nobody's actually mentioned the effects on the families and the children yet. The wives will get up, read the Sunday papers, all they see is their husband splashed on the front of paper with some woman.
That can't be fair. There are innocent parties in this, aren't there?
Well, they should have thought about that. She was a mother. Fergie is the mother of 2 of those innocent parties.
Somebody one day, Richard, somebody one day will commit suicide over this. It won't be me, and it won't be Cherry Gilliam.
And if somebody does, if, for instance, Mrs. Mellor had committed suicide, would you have had that on your conscience, Max?
Mrs. who, sorry?
Mrs. Mellor.
Mrs. Mellor?
Yeah. If she'd have got up, read the paper,
it's very simple.
been appalled and committed suicide.
Fine. I didn't break the story. I got involved 4 weeks after the story was out. Everyone knew about it. I took Antonio de Sanchez's side as opposed to David Mellor's side, and I tried to show him up for the hypocrite he was. That had nothing to do with what had gone on between the 2 of them.
What's happened to Antonia since?
Sure, she's tried to keep out of the way because she doesn't like the limelight.
Well, do you think that perhaps proves the point that Victoria Mather was making?
Well, you only have one shot, don't you? Tell your story once, that's it. You've played your
Well, you see, but...
dead in the water.
No, Lady Buck did it several times.
How many times can you kiss and tell?
Well, I mean, if you take Lady Buck, first of all, she kissed and told on Sir Peter Harding. Then she told on, I think, Thomas Vance, who was the American ambassador in America, in Spain, rather. And she's made several £100,000, and then she's written a book, and now she's giving advice
So what she does for a living. She doesn't do it out of spite,
Richard,
she doesn't do it out of revenge, it's what she does.
She's turned it into a career, and she's made a small fortune.
Who thinks Lady Buck was right to make a career out of sleeping with famous men and telling the papers? That lady here.
No, I just think it's ridiculous. You've got a single man. Why shouldn't he sleep with whoever he wants?
Whoever he is.
I don't honestly see why he shouldn't sleep with whoever he wants, wherever he wants, how often he wants. If it's married, that's slightly different, but why shouldn't you sleep with
The fact is, people like Clifford and his colleagues and the like, they exist purely to bring down those who have been more successful themselves. It's a question of jealousy. Got a bit of money, bit of success, they want to bring them down at every single opportunity. It is an absolute disgrace. And he makes loads of money from it, that's the fact of the matter.
That's right,
Newspapers, people don't realise they do write lies. It causes us a hell of a
Writing lies.
Who here doesn't read Kiss and Tell? You didn't read any of the kisses.
You don't read kisses, Joe?
I'll give up the news, I will.
So highly moral.
I'll give up the news if I can't read it anymore.
Oh, the news.
I read it from all times, anyway.
No, but that is true. People do read it. I mean, people are prurient and they do read it. Yes, but people also, if you ask them in surveys, actually say that they don't think this sort of thing should be in the newspapers. If you put it in front of them, they will buy it.
Say that foreign news should be in the newspapers.
Because, I know, but the reason is because newspapers are competing with each other. It's because it's commercial suicide not to run it.
David Banks, reply.
Well, it's simply not true. What people say and what they believe and what they actually do with their 35 pences when they go out to buy their newspapers are
so what Banks is saying is you're all hypocrites. You're condemning Max Clifford, you're condemning Cher, but you go out and buy the newspapers. The gentleman here is saying you're all hypocrites.
The only reason it takes place is because people, us, want to read it and want to buy it. If we didn't, no issue. Because we do, it's fine, no problem.
Who agrees with him? Who disagrees with him? Who disagrees with him?
Because what this will lead to in the end is that in our own homes, anyone who is remotely connected with public life will not even be able to talk to their own wives without worrying that some newspaper is going to offer them a fortune.
I'm just saying that this is the fact of life.
But it is turning life into a
Max Clifford, where does Mandy go from here?
Sorry?
Where does Mandy go from here? Mandy Allwood.
Sorry, what did you just say?
Mandy Allwood. Where does Mandy go?
What did he just say?
What did he say, Dave?
Right, he's out.
I think that's
we'll leave them to their private arguments.
That's a
We're
very
out of time. I'm off to kiss and tell.
Very funny remark.
That last question. Here are your reactions from home. Ronnie Edwards from Gillingham says Chris Quinton should be judged on his acting ability and not on his sexual ability in a lift. Going up. Oh, you'll give him 10, will you? Back to the ground floor. Amanda Fowler from Kent. No one's privacy should be infringed upon for someone else's profit. And Jeff Foreman from Morden says too many people see Max Clifford as a scapegoat. He simply represents clients who approach him, and I think he does a good job. And Beryl from Barnet says it's a shame Fergie didn't have Madame Vasso's gift of clairvoyance. If she had, she would have seen this whole fiasco a mile off, frankly. And talking of Madame Vasso, I have a few of those powers. I see animals. I see lots of animals. And I'm right, after the break, if they like their pets so much, why do they have their tails cut off? Dog lovers and dog owners square up to each other in just a couple of minutes. Don't miss it.
If you want to chat to someone new, then the Singles Network is for you. Now you can chat privately with other male and female callers. Lines are open 24 hours, so to make new friends on the phone, call the Singles Network on 0891 808 888.
The ultimate party animal. 50 hits, 25 number ones with Take That, Wham and Gina G. It's the most fun you can have with your clothes on. When other parties have ended, yours will still be going. Because you get not 2 but 3 CDs with over 3 hours of non-stop hits. Get the ultimate party animal from only $14.99.
If you want to talk man to man,
dial 0891 226
886 and make contact with men you'd like to know better.
They've started barking already. Calm down, boy. Down, boy. I thought that was a member of the audience. It's a dog, in fact. Welcome back. The RSPCA is cracking down on it. Vets have banned it, and will strike off colleagues who do it. We're talking about cutting dogs' tails off. But still, the dogs that tend to win competitions or turn up on Dulux paint ads are animals minus the tail they were born with. The question, why do people who apparently love their pets do it? Well, Lynn Powell, you breed and you show bobtails. Now, bobtails is the affectionate name for an old English sheepdog. What the hell is wrong with a tail on the thing?
There's nothing wrong with the tail, but can I just say, first of all, it is not illegal for a vet to dock a dog's tail. The reason our breed is docked is for hygiene reasons.
Well, hygiene reasons? Well, how did it manage throughout history if it's hygiene? I mean, a dog is an animal that spends half its life with its nose glued to the pavement. You're talking about hygiene?
They're a very heavily coated breed. They need to be kept scrupulously clean, or they will contact something called fly strike. Once the maggots eat into the animal, it can be less than 24 hours before that animal is in excruciating pain.
Well, it's got a lot of hair in it, an Old English
Yes,
sheepdog,
it has.
as we shall see. So if you're going to be true to your word, shouldn't you just give it a skinhead haircut? Frankly, it's for your convenience, isn't it?
If you want a skinhead haircut dog, you should buy another breed.
Well, if you want a dog without a tail, don't buy a dog in the first place, many people would say. Roger Mugford, do you buy that?
Well, I don't, because the bearded collies have about the same amount of hair, and they don't seem to be getting fly strike every moment. There are a lot of over-hairy dogs, but the point you make about excessive hairiness so that we can't see is also well taken. That is also another aspect of the vanity and the cruelty that goes into some aspects of dog breeding. But goodness me, nature put a tail on a dog, on a wolf, for a purpose. It carries important scent glands. It's a thermometer for the poor little animal when it's first born. It's virtually what's called cold-blooded poikilothermic when it's born. It needs the tail.
Word, Roger.
It needs the tail to say what temperature is it outside and what should my metabolism be doing inside.
Is this mutilation?
It is mutilation. It's taking something that's really useful to the animal throughout life. It's telling other animals, other dogs.
I'm going to cut not your tail off, and I'm going to cut you off there, and we'll have more from you later on. Let's take that point there. Steve Dean, you're a vet.
Yes.
This is mutilation for no purpose whatsoever other than the vanity of the owners.
I disagree with that. There are many reasons why dogs are docked. The working gun dog is docked to prevent tail damage. As we've heard, the Old English sheepdog is docked to prevent bad soiling around its tail. And the bearded collie, Roger's not using his eyes. Look at the bearded collie next to an Old English. The coat types are totally different.
Diane,
They're different
let's
dogs.
bring you in here, because, I mean, obviously Mother Nature made a mistake here. These dogs are meant to have their tails
Mother
docked.
Nature's got nothing to do with it.
I think these people are monsters. I really do think they are monsters.
Is that a member of the audience, or is it a dog? Carry on, Diane.
I believe that these people call themselves animal lovers and then go ahead and mutilate their animals. I think it is absolutely appalling.
Steve Dean, you just said that Mother Nature has nothing to do with it. What on earth are you talking about?
All of these breeds that we're talking about were basically designed by man and adapted by man. They weren't actually born as animals in their own right. So the wolf is a very, very long way from the dog. And as Roger knows, there is some doubt about whether the wolf is actually the true descendant.
Roger Mugford.
There's absolutely no doubt that all dogs came from wolves, but they're so selective in their arguments. Why have I got an Irish setter that's allowed to keep its tail, a Springer Spaniel isn't? It just does not bear... You don't go hunting with Rottweilers and Dobermans.
Very quickly.
Because the Irish setter was bred to do a different job to the Springer Spaniel.
All right, well, listen, we've got barking dogs in the wings. Before we go any further barking, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard of the Pepsi challenge. Let's have the Old English sheepdog challenge. So first of all, obviously dying to come in, as nature intended, will you welcome Arnie?
The one with the waggly tail. How much is that dog in the window?
Right. There goes Arnie. Arnie. Well, let's get the other one. Let's get the other one. The boxer dog over there is getting very excited. I'm getting very excited. Now, minus tail, same breed, same size. Will you welcome Fliss? There we are. Now, I've got to say, Fliss has got... hello, Fliss, how are you? All right. I'll calm that one down in a minute. I have a way with animals. If you saw the programme last week, you'll know that. Now, listen, Diane, that dog is perfectly happy, but that one's much calmer. The one without the tail is much calmer.
Oh, wow, so that's something to do with its tail, is it?
Well, it's perfectly happy.
That dog did not choose to lose his tail. The owners, the breeders, want the tails taken off for their own prejudice. If they didn't... It is their prejudice.
Just gentlemen over here, yes. What would you like to say?
They're a man-made breed and they were designed by man. They weren't done by Mother Nature and all that crap you're talking about.
He did that with a pair of scissors.
I have dogs with tails. You're talking a load of rubbish.
Oh, these two.
You're talking rubbish. I own
and they need their tails.
And most of them
we all cut
tails.
your bits off.
Don't tell me, and I've had dogs with tails damage.
We all cut yours off.
Your bits.
Cut your tail out.
You've got the dog tail damage down there.
Diane, we're over here. Now, Celia, how do you think... Oi,
no tail.
Shush! And you, dog. How do you think these dogs feel about this?
Well, I've got 4 rescue, and they use their tails to communicate to each other when they're happy, when they're sad, when they mate. That's what they're there for. They're there to communicate. If puppies could speak, what do you think they'd say?
I think they'd say I couldn't even remember having a tail in the first place.
These people use the dumbness of the animal to do just as they like. They live their egos through the animals, right from the top of the kennel club down. It's your egos, and they have to pay. They have to pay. Pay.
Oh, no,
They have to
quiet.
pay.
Quiet.
Don't tell me.
I've
seen it.
Quiet.
I've got a bigger mouth than you.
They're working animals, these people, they really are.
Well, that shows your mentality with language like that to
Could you
people,
be quiet?
doesn't it? I
You be
will.
quiet right now. You be
If
quiet
he stops
now.
insulting
You've said
people, I'll be
enough already.
quiet.
Jeanette, why are we cutting dogs' tails off?
Before I say any more,
No.
there is quite a significant percentage of Old English sheepdogs born without a tail.
But what is... They're born without a tail, but
They're
what is...
born
tails,
without
the
a
crucial thing is
tail.
tails are being cut off.
Corgis and 50% of Swedish
Okay.
Balhunds
Tails
are born without
are
a
being
tail.
cut off. Why is a tail on a boxer, you breed boxers, for example, potentially dangerous not only to the dog but other things?
Well, 2 weeks ago I had a phone call from a lady who'd had her daughter at casualty on 2 occasions with bruising about the head caused by a boxer with a tail.
A boxer with a tail over here. Can we hand this? Look, well, this tail, we're not talking a Tyrannosaurus Rex tail.
Have you seen a boxer when it's really pleased to see you? That is a lethal weapon.
Roger Mugford, that tail can cause some serious damage.
I can see.
So can these people.
I have this terrible dog with a tail that knocks cups and glasses off low-slung tables. Do I think that that means that I've got to go and cut its tail off? No, it means that I put my things on a higher table.
No, you make the point there, Jeanette, that these things get in the way sometimes. I mean, there's bits of me that get in the way, but heavens, I wouldn't want it to have it locked off, for heaven's sake.
Nicky!
Yeah, oh, this gentleman here.
I've got working spaniels. I've got one without a tail, I've got one with. It's cruel to leave the tail on. The dog that I've got with a tail on gets damaged badly because it's got a tail.
April
Its
Jones,
tail's
you're a
going
vet.
back and forth
April
and it
Jones,
gets
you're a
damaged.
vet. You have, in the past, dog tails. How do the dogs react, the puppies react?
The puppies scream, the mothers go mad.
Oh,
I did it. That is not now. Steve Dean made a point about gun dogs. I took the trouble this afternoon to go through the 64 gun dogs listed in my book of dogs. Only half of them are docked. Your argument is spurious and nonsense.
They do different
The argument
work.
is nonsense.
Martin, okay, let this man answer because he breeds dogs, gun dogs. Answer her.
It's not true. Yes, there's a gun dog breeds, there's no doubt about it, but a lot of them don't work. The true working gun dog is not only humane, it's not only beneficial, it's essential that the last bit of the tail is taken off.
Thousands of dogs of each breed are born each year, and most of them end up as pets, and you want to dock them all just so that you can work them?
No.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
We see your dog. We see your dog over here, the one which is flesh. April, be quiet. We're over here now. Now, April, I said be quiet. I'll smack your bottom. Right, April over here. Chris has got a lovely little pink thing. Does that not testimony to the fact that it is pure vanity on your part?
You can see better that way.
What, with a pink thing? Like that? Diane?
The dogs are bred too hairy. I mean, we could lead into another debate here on the obscenities of the way they breed these pedigree dogs. But getting back to docking, you cannot convince me that taking a puppy and cutting that puppy's tail off when that puppy's a couple of days old is anything but sheer bloody mutilation.
It's clear that we will never persuade the anti-faction about the fact that docking is cruel. But on the other side, I don't know what April does when she's seen docking or when she's tried to do it. But I can tell you that the puppies don't scream, the mothers don't go mad. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
Well, look, after the break, we're going to talk. We'll come back to you after the break. After the break, we are going to talk to a lady who feels she's been terrorised because the RSPCA have been doing spot checks after tip-offs, and we're going to talk to a lady who was suspected of docking her own dog's tails. Richard.
Quite a lot of calls coming in at the moment, Nikki. One from Gillian Westminster says, I experienced my dog's litter of puppies being mutilated by a vet 10 years ago. I would never, ever let animals go through that kind of pain again. It's utterly inhumane. And Lawrence from Luton said, these so-called dog lovers who dock the tails are only doing it to win prizes at dog shows. They're thinking of themselves, they're not thinking of the dogs. More of your calls, more puppy dogs' tails after the break.
My greatest pleasure? Fishing. Yes, fishing. That walk through the early morning mist, the smell of wildflowers, the sound of water tumbling over pebbles. And finally, that moment when you feel the line tighten against your fingers. Who knows? One day I may even catch a fish.
Courvoisier, a pleasure in every sense. Being single has never been so much fun. Lines are open 24 hours, so call the Singles Network on 0891 808 888.
When it's cold, be a good neighbour. For information, ring 0800 8385 873.
Back, and we are now minus sheepdogs. Now, listen, Jeanette, the RSPCA have been doing these spot checks after tip-offs. Have they been heavy-handed?
Very heavy-handed. We've had the very first case we had in '93. A lady went in plain clothes, pretending to be a puppy buyer, and was actually handling the puppies before she admitted to being an RSPCA inspector. She could have been dealing with infected dogs the day
What do you think of
before.
these tactics?
I think they're disgusting.
Well, let's speak to somebody who's been on the wrong end of it. Now, Gaynor, what happened to you when the RSPCA turned up at your door?
Well, an inspector turned up, a very tall man in uniform, and said he had a very serious complaint. So I let him in because I didn't know what it was and was very worried. And he said he'd been informed that I had dog puppies, which I had, and he said that they'd been banded. So I said,
what does that mean?
Well, instead of cutting the tail, elastic's put round, and it's not instant, it dies and drops off.
How did you feel with all this, with the van outside, with him in his uniform and everything?
Well, I was very worried, especially when he said it was a serious offence. You know, I just thought I'd better cooperate as much as I can, because I could be in big trouble for whatever it was. And then when he said docking, I said, well, as far as I know, it's done by a vet, it's perfectly legal.
You feel intimidated?
Well, yeah, because I was on my own. I was at home on my own.
Well, we've got Bill Swan from the RSPCA. These are heavy-handed tactics, aren't they?
I don't think that they are, no. I think one thing that you must understand is that the RSPCA has an unusual constitutional position in Britain, in that we are empowered and, in fact, required to investigate complaints. Where
she's on her own, you're turning up in uniform, you're knocking on the door, she's embarrassed and she's intimidated.
Where animal cruelty is alleged to have occurred. And so we have a requirement to go and investigate that circumstance, and this is what we do.
And the fact that she's innocent and she went through that particular turmoil, you think it's worth it?
I would quite happily look at, I would ask our inspectors to look at 10 cases where cruelty has been alleged by complaints from the public. If 9 of those turn out to be a waste of time, that's fine, and I'd be pleased about it because it means that cruelty hasn't taken place.
Yeah,
if the 10th case is a case of cruelty, then that justifies, and I'm very sorry if the lady was obviously in a situation where she hadn't done anything wrong, but the 10th case may have done.
That surely justifies the behaviour. He has the animal's welfare at heart.
I've got a file that thick of unjustified visits.
All right, how cruel is this?
Well, let's go back to the file of unjustified
visits.
No,
we've got to move on. How cruel do you think it is, docking the tails? What would you compare it to?
Well, cruelty, in the first instance, in the short answer, is that depends how it's done. If it's carried out badly, it's cruel. There's a bigger issue than this, because as veterinary surgeons, we have an almost complete monopoly on animal surgery.
Yeah.
Now, that carries an enormous responsibility, I believe that no veterinary surgeon should carry out an operation if it is not in that animal's interests. Now, docking tails for cosmetic reasons, or if you take another example of a mutilation, removing a dog's vocal cords.
What would you compare it to?
Well, removing a dog's vocal cords to stop it barking.
Removing a dog's vocal cords
is a mutilation.
It's as cruel as that. This is absolute mutilation, and you're doing it for your own vanity, aren't you?
No, we're not. No, we're not. The dogs were never designed to carry a tail. 12 boxers in Sweden after the ban died of gangrene.
A dog was meant to have it. We had tails 5 million years ago, but I think mine has disappeared through the evolutionary process.
We designed the dogs, and in Sweden, when a ban came in, within the first year, 12 boxers died from gangrene of the spine caused by tail injury.
They're helping the dogs by doing this.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I've got the facts and figures to prove it.
It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about a mutilation where you're cutting off a dog's tail.
How many dockings have you seen to make that statement?
From experience.
Do you see that badge? I'm a qualified veterinary nurse.
And how many dockings? That must be
Roger, Roger Mugford, isn't the problem here, actually, we are talking about designer dogs, and it's got to such a stage that we have to help these dogs hygiene-wise, the fact that they're cumbersome, these tails, the fact that they're dangerous, and we're helping them by cutting off the tails.
You know I'm going to agree with you, because it's a disaster. And what we seem to be doing is saying, let's make our animals as distant from their wild ancestors as possible.
So
let's remove all the nature, all the wilderness from it. And why don't we cut the tail off that is a reminder of that link with the wolf? And then we can kid ourselves that really they are a member of our family symbolically.
And put pink ribbons in its hair.
And put pink ribbons in the hair and treat them just like we would a child.
Hundreds of years of docking
create dogs
not detrimental.
that have human-looking faces.
Hundreds and hundreds of years of docking have proved that it's not detrimental to the breed. What if you are wrong?
Let's go to the gentleman here. I want to ask you, what the hell does a dog wag when it's happy if it doesn't have a tail?
They don't need a full tail. It's got a tail.
Well, it just shakes its bum, does it?
No, it's got a tail. Look, here's proof. Here's a little tail. Look, this puppy can tell you, and any other dog without a tail can tell each other. They don't need a tail to tell each other that they want to fight, or they don't want to fight, or they want to do this, want to do that. Their eyes say everything they need to say.
Hands up.
When a dog's ill, you see it lying on the floor. Its eyes tell you it's not right, not its bloody tail.
All right, let's have a yes, no. Yeah, what would you like to say over here? Go on, oi, have some manners.
I would like to ask one question. You say you designed the dogs. Are you God? You are not God. It is DNA. Know that.
God intended dogs to have tails.
God didn't design the boxer.
God didn't design the boxer.
Or the old English
If we're going to
sheepdog.
get into this religious argument, God also designed some breeds not to have tails, because as you've heard, some are actually born already with a short tail.
If you didn't like that, you'd stick tails on them, wouldn't you?
So this is, presumably, these guys would like us to go around putting tails on.
All right, yes, you were the
So
brag
they can
suit.
communicate.
This is creating monsters. Frankenstein. I'm calling Frankenstein.
Will Markham, no, but this guy knows a thing or two about dogs. Why do these people do it?
You're cutting limbs off a dog. If you ask that dog down there, it's part of the dog. It's part of the dog. If you ask that puppy when it's a puppy, if it needed that tail, and if it wanted to keep that tail, it will say, I want to keep it. It's unnecessary operations. You're unnecessary cutting off parts of an animal. It's an animal. It's like cutting off. It's like cutting off ears off a human.
Why do these people do it? What's in it for them?
It's cosmetic. It's
That's it, isn't it? How much is that doggy in the window, the one without the waggly tail? Because
There's another issue here. There's another issue.
People want to buy, isn't it?
Exactly, that is exactly the point.
So is that justification for doing it?
At the end of the day, if you ask these people to start breeding dogs with full tails, and the general public...
Market forces.
And the
You can see
general
here
public
from the
will not buy
response
them,
that the general
then they
public
will
want
end
dogs
up on the
with
marketplace.
tails.
I'm afraid that's not true.
So what it comes down to, Roger Mugford, it's all about ultimately the bottom line, if you'll pardon the pun, without a tail, it's about lining their pockets, isn't it?
No, it's not about lining their pockets.
And interestingly, if the
It's about
public
welfare
can vote
for the dog.
If the public can vote for the dogs they want to have as pets, they all want the dogs with tails left on. But the decision is made for them because they're encouraged by Kennel Club rules and breeders and show judges
Rubbish.
who
Rubbish.
encourage the removal of the tails, because you don't win when you go into a show ring. When you go into a show ring, you won't win prizes.
He's from the Kennel Club.
If it's not true.
Every breed
standard. Are you going to allow me to speak, madam? Every breed standard allows dogs to be shown with tails.
But they won't win.
Without tails. That is not true. There is a Weimaraner with a tail that has become a champion. There were a number of dogs in soft coat and wheated terriers who all got high prizes at Crufts this year who were not docked.
You've got to do more.
Very much.
All right, I want to go to this guy back here. And is this, what's his name?
This is Jason.
Is Kylie not here tonight as well?
She's at home.
She's at home. Hello, Jason.
As you can see, this dog is very concerned. He hasn't got a tail. He's in a terrible state.
Well, what do you say to Roger Mugford and to Diane out there?
They are obviously entitled to their opinions. People, if they want dogs with tails, they're perfectly entitled to have dogs with tails.
Dogs want
I
dogs with
feel that
tails.
if veterinary surgeons would like
From a lady who's mutilated her ears, I find this very strange.
Hang on, what did you say? So what did you say?
I say people have to... A lady who mutilates her ears. I mean, the thing...
It's their own ears.
I know, it's their own ears. It's our own dogs.
It's your own dog, so you are... It's her own dog. It's his own dog. He can do
my dog... Hold on, let me finish.
He can do what he wants with his dog.
They are in your keeping. It does not belong to you. It belongs to itself.
My dog is a working gun dog. My dog, if it did not have that small amount of, would damage its tail so badly that it would suffer because of it.
What's disgusting about a working gun dog?
Not only is he mutilating dogs, but he's out killing and shooting and expecting his dog to be his servant.
Yes, come on.
Are there any gun dogs? Holly, are there any gun dogs that don't have tails?
Yes, there are plenty of gun dogs that don't have tails.
What about gun dogs that do have tails?
Plenty have tails. Half of them have tails. Can we go back to this business about...
Not working ones.
We were talking about preventing injuries.
Yes.
Now, I will tell you something. In my working life, in this last year as a vet, I have treated injuries to ears in ordinary dogs, all dogs, pedigree or mongrel. I have repaired 20 ears in the last... No, but the point about it is I've had one tail injury. Why don't we? The argument must be continued. If you're going to chop off their tails at birth, chop off their ears.
That's a good idea.
I want to say to you, Lynette.
They won't injure them.
Lynn, now you've got that lovely old English sheepdog that was making a lovely old noise earlier on. We had to remove it from the studio. Not the first time we've had to remove people from the studio. But why don't you just have it with a lovely long, swishy, waggly tail and clean it more?
Yes,
That's the thing. Why don't you give it a bit of hygiene yourself? Why don't you do that?
My dogs are looked after.
Let us speak.
My dogs are looked after. My dogs are kept clean because it's easy to get to that area.
It's for your convenience.
It's not for my convenience. My dogs, I want to live a long and healthy life, and by not having a tail, I am ensuring that they don't get lice. I'd like to ask this lady...
Just in case it bites anyone, why don't you take its teeth out?
It's not the issue. I'd like to ask this lady a question.
We're talking mutilation.
No, I'd like to ask this lady a question.
Very quick question.
If she's a veterinary nurse, she must have witnessed sometime in her career the devastation and the agony that a dog goes through having suffered from fly strike.
10-second answer, Diane.
I've seen animals with fly strike, and I've not actually seen a long-haired dog with fly strike.
Roger
I've seen
Mugford.
mostly rabbits
Roger
with fly
Mugford.
strike.
What's the way
And
ahead?
rabbits have got
15-second
short
answer.
tails.
Give dogs dignity. Let them just come out the way that nature wants them to come out. And let's get away from extremism. Let's come back towards the basic mould of the dog, which was designed in nature as the wolf. And
all right,
dogs
that's
did a
all we've
pretty
got
good
time
job.
for. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Marcus from Chigwell says, I'm not a dog lover, but if a dog was born with a tail, it's disgusting to cut it off. Tony from Sittingbourne says, my family had a boxer with a tail. It whacked about like a lethal weapon. It bruised my daughter on a number of occasions. We had to have it docked for safety reasons. Lawrence from Chadwell St Mary says, my mum bred Jack Russell puppies for years. She always had their tails docked. And the one that I like is from Muriel in Tottenham, says, I was amazed tonight, 46 questions asked, not a brown envelope in sight. Well, that's it for tonight. Thursday Night Live. We'll be here at the same time next week. Join us then. Until then, from Nikki and me and all of us, good night.
The news is in half an hour. First, though, another discussion gets underway in the time, the place, with John Stapleton.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Hello, good morning to you at home. Prepare yourselves for a shock. This woman was made to look like this by her partner. Horrifying, isn't it? So why do women like Gaz's wife Cheryl, this is what he apparently did to her, give their partners a second chance? Can violent men ever change their ways? We have a number of violent men and men who have been violent in the past who've come along bravely, in my view, this morning to talk about their problem. You're one of them, aren't you, George? Yeah. What is the problem?
The problem? Jealousy, paranoia, that sort of thing. Someone speaks to her, I think she's having affairs with them, blow it all out of proportion.
So what do you do?
Hit her, punch her, kick her, broke her nose, give her black eyes. It's terrible.
This is you.
Mm-hmm.
How long has this been going on?
6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
A broken nose, black eyes.
Mm.